Hello everybody. This time I would like to make a video about the Bools Kit, a kit for Modo which speeds up Boolean operations a lot, I must say. And this is especially helpful when you work with the rounded edge shader, which came with Modo 601, which speeds up modeling a lot and which I have underestimated and just ignored for quite a long time. But anyway, I made this micro Uzi. It took me about 2 hours or maybe 2.25 hours to do it, and I think it looks pretty real. Okay, and just in case you want to try something like this yourself, I mixed this. So the grip, for example, is a sub-D model, which I then did a freeze. The same is the loader here, is also a sub-D model, and the barrel and this part is sub-D, and all the rest is rounded edge shader only. Okay. Now, first question, where do we get it? And for this I go to Google and Google for Modo Bools Kit. And the second entry here is where we get it. The kit is provided by a very generous person called ylaz, and it is the top download here. So you download it to your normal directory, and by the way, there are some other interesting scripts from ylaz also available here, which you might want to look at and which surely help to speed up your workflow. Okay, now when you have downloaded it, we need to bring it into Modo, and that is very easy when you have Modo 901 or 902, because then you can open the system and go to open content folder, and in the content folder, since Modo 901 you have a kits directory, and you just copy this Bools directory into here, and you are done. Now you must restart Modo so it picks up this new directory entry. And when you have restarted it, you go again to System, Form Editor, then you scroll to the very bottom, open the forms and find this Bools entry here. Now you can right click on it, and then you get this pop-up, and you can assign to a key. And as you can see, I assigned it to the S key because the S key is not used in the model layout. So when you have done this, okay, you will not get this because it's not assigned in your case. Then you can press S, and you should get this this pop-up. If you click on this circle here, it will always stay open, and you can dock it to wherever you like. I put it to here. Now let's see what we can do with it. I brought in a unit cube, which is 1 meter by 1 meter, and first I Control copy, Control V, W, and move this over. So here maybe very quickly, you know, when you use Modo native booleans, we would have to Control X this one, N for a new mesh, Control V, then go to Mesh Edit, Boolean, and make a Boolean union, for example. And this will not work because Modo does not like ambiguous things like Control Z, like, you know, these two polygons being on exactly the same position. So your cutter must be either smaller or bigger. Let's make it bigger, like so, and now it's not ambiguous. It is good. So we can go back to here and go to Mesh Edit, Boolean, Union, okay, and now it has worked. Okay, you see, that's quite a lot of clicks. Let's undo this, and I take out this Control X and bring to my original mesh, Control V, because delete this one. With this Bools Kit, we can always stay in the same mesh. So it's very easy. I can just select a polygon here and another one here and say union, and it does the union. Or I can select this polygon or this one and do a subtract, all in the same mesh, and it's a lot of clicks less. This, by the way, is an intersect which would only keep the part which is intersected by both cubes. Now let's have a look at the other things. So I undo this. This here is a trim function which separates. I better show it, then you know exactly what I mean. So I select this one and then this one, use trim. I can also use an offset here, it's only 1 pixel. But now we have separated these two shapes, which can be something very useful if you want to make detail to doors, for example, or things like this. But to be honest, I don't use that very often because I use a bevel when I want to make details. Okay, undo everything. And first I give all this a material. So M, and I did it before once, so I use the one I gave. It's slightly different in color, so we see when we add something new. Okay, the next, let me very quickly subtract this part. The next point is when we are not, no, I must give this material, I say, I want to have a rounded edge width of 10 millimeters. Let's quickly check if it works. F8. Yes, we have nicely rounded edges now. Okay, now when you work with geometries like this without subding something, then we need to remember that we must use more geometry than we normally would. I normally would bevel these edges with a round level of maybe one or two, and in this case we must bevel it with at least 4. 4 seems to be a good value. So if I check it again here, you see this is nice and round, and there is no difference to a sub-D model. Now the next thing here is something extremely useful. I will demonstrate it, so I copy this here, Control copy, Control V, W, and by the way, if this does not work with your Modo, then you must go to System again, Preferences, and Defaults, Mesh Items, and here you have Copy and Paste options. And the default is like this, and then it will not work. You cannot just copy existing polygons. So click these two, that's very useful. Okay, now I control rotate this 90 degrees and go to the front view and select this edge here, Alt C with the count of 2, and select this edge, W key, now Control Z, Z key, and bring this down like so, and then I can do maybe here or here, that's good. Okay, now this here, I don't know, it's called, doesn't have a name, but it is a cutter really, and it will cut through all the objects, in this case in the Z-axis. So if you have something in addition which you don't want to have cut, then you better hide it before, otherwise it will cut through. So you just have to select this cutter, click on here, and it has cut through it. If you need the cutter later on again, then you can copy, Control V and H to hide it. Then you can make this cut and U to unhide, and then you can use it a second time. That's just a side note. Okay, now the next one is a Boolean subtract with multiple cutters, and I must say I only use this one because this one also supports multiple cutters. I think this here is a bit redundant. The next part are these two. This here is a symmetrical subtract, and this is a symmetrical union. And to quickly demonstrate how this works, I will go to this here, which is another extremely useful thing, but I must first select a polygon, and then I can select a primitive, a cube, a cylinder, a cone, a sphere, a capsule. In my case I select a cube. Okay, and it will put it in the middle of the previously selected polygon, and because we have cut it out, this would be the middle if we still had the normal cube. So I go to front view again, W key, bring this down to about here, and now we can go to vertex mode, select a vertex on our cube, then a vertex where we want to have the first cut, and another vertex where we want to have the last cut. So we could put the second one to here, to here, to here, and you see that's quite useful because you don't need a real symmetry. The vertex position tells the script where to do this boolean subtract in our case, and it asks about the axis. X is okay, and you see now we have a second subtract, one in here and the second one in here. Control Z, and if I would select this here and make a boolean union or a symmetric union x-axis again, now we have a union on this side. Okay, undo it, and let me go to the side view. W key, I will speed this up in the video. Okay, I just made two cutters again, also to demonstrate some other things, and normally or in many cases it is possible to just select one of the polygons each and then click on here, and because of demonstration purposes this did not work, so Control Z, but it's very easy to fix. We hide this, hide, then select these two polygons, invert the selection, delete, U, unhide, and now it will work. So cut through here, and you see this is already some quite impressive, but the kit can do a lot more. I will not talk about these two because these are polygon subtract and polygon union, and I think I just never used it because we can make cutters as complex as we like. So I take a circle here, about this size, like so, and then I bevel it and delete, take every second up arrow key, then Z, right click, R to bring it out a bit, and now we have a cutter, and it does not matter at all W where we put it. It can be in front, but it can also be somewhere in the middle. So again, highlight it, click on here, and we have cut this shape through our model and through all of the walls of our model. Okay, now I can very quickly also talk about this one, which is something I also never use because I think a normal bevel is easier and easier to control, but just I bring in a cube, select the top polygon here, click on here, it asks me about the thickness, and maybe this is a good point to explain all the measurements of this kit are in meters. So depending on how big your object is, you must be careful about this, but I think 0.1 should be okay. And you see now it has put in a bevel, and Ctrl Z. I do it again with 0.01, and you see it just makes a bevel. And you can also control the depth of this by adding in a vertex. So I can first select this top polygon, then go to vertex mode, select a vertex in here, click on here, and 0.01 again, and you see now it has only beveled it down to this vertex. But as I said, I feel a normal bevel is quicker and gives you more control, or I have not quite understood what all we can do with this. Anyway, now there are other extremely good tools like this one. So let me select an edge in here and click on here, and we have 5 different tools under this option, and they all need edges, or I think vertices would also go. But let's see this one. It asks me how many clones I want, and I think I may take 6. And now here it asks me how many sides these disks should have. So because they will be pretty small, I think 24 should be sufficient. Okay, and the x-axis is good. And now it has calculated what distances it must use. And has placed these disks, and I can't select them. I always move them a bit away, so it's easier to select, otherwise they are completely flush with the other geometry. So here we can click on this symbol again, and you see it has cut through my entire geometry. This can be very useful to add additional details or so. You get the hang of it as soon as you start working with this kit, and I tell you, once you are used to this way of working with booleans, you will never go back to the traditional way. But here I undo this, because sometimes this fails, or sometimes even Modo crashes, because you know these disks are now exactly in the middle of this edge. So we have 2 ways to make sure it will always work. We can very slightly move them up, maybe 1 millimeter on the Y. Now it is not ambiguous anymore, and it will definitely work here. Or what we also can do is Shift X, click in the viewport and make real cutters, and then Z, drop the tool, deselect these polygons, and then we can select, these are the cutters now, and we can select another polygon in here. Oh, Control Z, Shift select. And just to demonstrate that this Boolean subtract also works with multiple cutters, I do it this way, and you see we get exactly the same result. Okay, now the next thing in here is disks along a curve, and for that I go to front view and Shift C, make a cut through here. And here, by the way, with Modo 9.01 we got a new function which is called split, and we can cap the sections, and this will separate our model. Let's see if it works. And then I assign the material and go to F8 quickly. And you see, this is another way to add detail to a model with this split function. But in this case I will undo it. Okay, Shift C again, but without split, because we only need an edge in here. Okay, now let me select a vertex in here, next in here, and go up to here. And now we can go to our tool, but the problem is we have different distances. Like this here is bigger than the one in between here, and the script must know what distance it has to take in the calculation. So after you have selected all the vertices, you can select these two edges in here, for example, and now we can, or also only one, we can click on this one and it asks for the orientation of the disks, which is Z in this case. And now we could again, for example, that's my fault, I must select this mesh here. We don't want that, but it would be something which would be very useful in certain occasions. So undo it, Control Z again, and we can not only put in disks, we can also put in blocks or quad balls. And this is another nice way of adding detail, for example, rivets or screws or something. So Control Z, this is quad ball, and Control Z again, I use the squares just to make a point. You see, they have always the same orientation, so they are not lined up along the normals of these polygons, they are always lined up the same. This of course does not matter when we have quad balls, then we don't see what orientation. If we have other geometry, I will towards the end of this video show what other tools we can use so that the orientation is along the normals of the polygons. So let's see how this looks by now. F8. Yeah, it's not a good color, but anyway, we see it. Everything works with the rounded edges. Now the last one in here is this disk here, and for this one we need a polygon selection first. Then we can click on here. It will ask of the radius, let's say 0.1, and the depth. If we give it depth, then it makes a cylinder, otherwise it only makes a disk, and it does not ask about W. I move it a bit away so it's not flush with the rest. This is hard-coded in the script. It will make a disk with 24 sides, which if it's only this size here, or maybe even a bit smaller, is R key is absolutely no problem. And then we can again use this here and cut through our geometry. Okay, now what else is left? This one here, and also here there is let me show what it does first. We can cut through every edge we want. It will cut through in the middle when we click here, and through all the connected geometry. Now a part is not connected anymore. If I select this one and click, then it only cuts through the parts which are connected. And we can also, this can give you another way of adding interesting detail. If we check our model now, this is how it looks. And what I wanted to say is, I have a unit cube which is 1 meter by 1 meter, and I believe the cutout here is 10 centimeters. So if you have only a very small cube, then the cutout will not be adjusted. It will still be the same distance, so it might be way too big to be useful. So you can either size up your geometry, or you can go to the script and change this from 10 centimeters maybe to 1 centimeter, which I will do after I finish this tutorial. Okay, now what is left? If we use rounded edge shaders, and let's make another cut through here, like so, just to demonstrate that we can cut through everything. It is pretty robust. You might want to have a copy of this. So we can right click on this mesh here, then go to instance, and now we have created an instance, but it is on exactly the same position, so we must move it on the Z, and because I know it is 1 meter, we can put in 1 meter here, and now we have an exact copy of our geometry. If you want to have not a copy, but you prefer to have a mirror, then you can scale it in the X dimension. You will see down here in what dimension we have to work, to -100%. And now you have a mirrored copy. If you don't like the seam here, which we will get in the middle, you can delete this polygon here. So I go to front view, polygon mode, delete this middle polygon, backspace delete, and now we don't have a seam. It's absolutely seamless. Okay, what is left? There is one thing left, yes, and for that I select a polygon, go to my primitive thingy and use a cone, because this is the one which demonstrates this best. So 24 sides is fine, W key, and now we can select the bottom polygon here, go to our snapping options and select polygon center, then activate snapping, go to mesh edit, tack tool, and now we can add in, maybe I make it bigger, 100%, like so, and middle mouse click, make sure you have move connected and copy geometry, but then you need a middle mouse click and it will be placed exactly in the middle of these polygons, and it is oriented along the normals in contrast to the balls we used in here. So this might be also something to add detail. Now I select everything, give it another material, call it red, and make it red, like so. And I forgot something. We can of course use all the normal things Modo offers, like bevels, for example. So I bevel this here on the red handle, then shift click away from the handle and pull it down. And now we need to give this red material also a rounded edge shader, so 10 millimeters, F8, and let's render it F9. And here we are. This was the Bools Kit and how to use it. Of course, it's only your imagination, and as I showed at the very beginning, you can do pretty nice things pretty quickly. So I hope you like this, Thanks for watching. Take care and have fun modeling with Modo. See you some other time. Bye bye.